I'm Emily Harlan, sitting down with the new head coach of the San Diego Gulls, Kevin Dineen. Kevin, welcome to San Diego.
Thanks, Emily. Pleasure to be here.
I think it's pretty cool that you're back with the organization. When you were with the Portland Pirates, you got to coach some names that are pretty familiar with our fan base in Ryan Getzlaf and Corey Perry. Does it kind of feel like a homecoming to be back here in San Diego?
Well, no question. Southern California in general, and just to be in the hockey atmosphere around here and to know that you have San Diego and Anaheim so close, there's, I think, great symmetry there. And for me, to be back with this organization, it's just an absolute thrill.
I want to talk about some of your past achievements. Stanley Cup with the Chicago Blackhawks as an assistant coach, a gold medal coaching the Canadian women's hockey team in the 2014 Olympics, and 19 seasons playing in the NHL, which I think is impressive on its own to have a playing career for that long.
Yeah, thank you.
How has your success at the highest level prepared you for this coaching job?
Well, I think just over the course of your career, you get you experience so many different things, and you're able to impart that to a lot of players that are coming along, whether they're from Europe, whether they're from Canadian junior teams, from U.S. colleges. They come into the organizations, everything's fresh and new. You've got this out there, and for me, it's a matter of areas of the game that you can focus and get better at, and when you've been around a little bit, you can relate a lot of different things, whether it's using an example like when Getzey and Corey Perry were young kids, or how Marian Hossa or Jonathan Taves prepare themselves for games. So all those little things just combine up to giving a lot of knowledge that you look forward to passing on.
A huge focus of this organization is the involvement in the community. In 1991, you were named the NHL's Man of the Year for your charitable contributions. Why is giving back so important to you, and how do you plan to keep that going here in San Diego?
Well, I just think it's such an important part of what you do. Number one, it's an absolute privilege to be in this situation as a coach, as a player, and to realize that there's people out there that are excited to meet you. They got a chance to interact. And I find any kind of interaction, whether it's going to speak at a school, maybe visiting a hospital, there's no negatives. You can go there, you enjoy somebody's company, and they're actually really happy to have you there. So what better way to spend some of your time? And I think what happens is you're dealing with some players that might be a little uncomfortable in that kind of a situation at first. I think once you expose them to it, I think they realize that it's really a special thing. So jump them in there and make it part of their growth as a player and a person, and you're filling both sides. I think that's a great thing for us to keep on accentuating here with the Gulls organization.
When you were in this interview process and just the search for a head coach here, what's one thing that really stood out to you that made you want to be the head coach of the San Diego Gulls?
Well, I was fortunate because I think with a lot of things it comes down to people, and for me to have been in this organization before, the Samuelis had just taken over the team. They were putting their fingerprint on how they wanted to do their business. Bob Murray was the assistant GM under Brian Burke at that time. Rick Patterson was a scout. Dave McNabb was here as well and spent a lot of time with us in Portland. So the people that I've been around and are with, you know about quality and character and what you expect. And I find it doesn't matter what your business in, but in the hockey business, like everything else, when you're around good people, good things tend to follow.
Last year, the Gulls made it to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in club history. What kind of excitement do you have coming to an organization that's really building something here in San Diego?
Well, for me, I think it's a great stepping stone to walk in. Number one, Dallas has been nothing but completely supportive, reached out to me last week, and to have someone in the NHL chair that just came from the seat you were just in is able to give you a lot of advice and wisdom. We'll be spending a lot of time together before training camp, getting a little chemistry between the way the teams play, and you know what? The bar's been set high. I think there's an expectation in San Diego entertaining a successful brand of hockey, and that's what we're looking to keep that going here, moving into this year.
And what are you looking forward to most with this team and this new position? Is it that first practice with the guys? Is it that first home game at Pechanga Arena?
I think, well, for one thing, I've heard about our fan base is just unbelievable. We set records every single year for attendance, and I think that's really something that's attractive from our players. And for me, I think when I saw the jersey today, that's what really gets you excited. You see the jersey, you're back in the swing of it, getting behind the bench and working with these young men is going to be a great experience. But I would say puck drop, game one, is something I'm really looking forward to.
You've mentioned before how much you like the American Hockey League and its importance in developing players.
Yeah.
So what are some of your feelings and emotions to be back in the AHL and here in Southern California where hockey is continuing to grow,
right,
knowing that you are going to have a hand in developing some of the NHL's future stars?
Well, the American League is such a great place because it doesn't matter if you're a coach, you're a referee, you're a player. You get your kind of hiccups and burps out of the way, you know. Your mistakes are made. Things are going to happen. At the NHL level, you know what? It's all about winning. Here, it's about saying, you know what? Mistakes happen. We're going to learn from them. We're going to get better. So getting at this level is something that I've always really enjoyed because what we're trying to do is, we want every single player that comes from San Diego to get a chance to play in Anaheim. That's not realistic. But what we really want them to do is kind of maximize their potential, get the absolute most they can out of their careers, and don't leave any stone unturned. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting going and getting these guys gelling as a team and creating that success that follows that on the ice.
A couple of your kids have said that they think you're a good coach because you know when to be hard on someone, but you also know when to kind of leave them alone. Would you say that's a fair assessment of your coaching style?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say, you know what, that there's mistakes, like I say, mistakes are made all the time in the course of a game, in the course of practices. I would say that mistakes that happen in October and November, those go along. And now if we're seeing the same mistakes in February and March, then we got some issues that we got to work through. So I like the idea that a lot of times players know before anybody has to tell them, you know, that something happened that, you know what, they know that there was a slip up. So, you know, deal with it and you move on and show a little confidence by putting somebody back out there. I'm a big believer in that.
What would you say is your coaching philosophy and how do you plan to implement that here in San Diego?
Well, our philosophy, for one, is we'll take some of the systems that Dallas is going to use at Anaheim, and quite a few of them. We will implement them here in the lineup in San Diego. For me, I'm always been a believer. Number one, you play defense the right way. You play it hard. You play it sincere in your own end. But most important, it's like any sport. You know, I had a chance to see the Federer Djokovic Max this week. What an incredible tennis. And it doesn't matter, I enjoy watching that kind of stuff, but to see guys that have had that kind of success and the effort they put into that game, that's what our expectations are. No matter how tired you are, what kind of travel, so on and so forth, there's going to be effort every night here when you're wearing a golfing uniform.
You mentioned Dallas Eakins and how he reached out to you last week. What was that conversation like, and did he have any advice for you?
Well, first of all, we talked a lot about the staff, and I think it's amazing since the announcement today, my phone's kind of blowing up there, and so many of the hockey world's really not that big, but the training staff here, the coaches that are here, that I'm going to get an opportunity to work with, people just rave about them, and just through my short conversations with them today, there's no better feeling than going to work and knowing you're around people you enjoy and spending time with. And Dallas was the first one to reach out and say, boy, you just love coming to work because of the people, and had a chance to talk about how our summer will play out and how we'll get a chance to spend some time together before we get going for training camp, something I'm really looking forward to.
This fan base in San Diego is pretty incredible. We call them America's finest fans because they truly are. What message do you have to the fans of the San Diego Gulls?
Well, come out and enjoy a good brand of hockey. And you know what? We've got a little bit of an old school rink, but that just adds some to the character of the experience when you come to a game. Come expecting that, like a lot of things, you know, you never know how the outcome is going to come out, but we plan on entertaining you, and you'll be able to walk out of the building and saying, you know what? That's a hard-working bunch, and you might not be a huge XO type person on hockey, But I think when you see the effort, it's something you're going to enjoy and be able to go home and say that was a good night.
Well, Kevin, thank you for your time. We're thrilled to have you here.
Thanks,
and best
Emily.
of luck this season.
Appreciate it. Thank you.